Hello, everyone. We are excited that you are joining us on tonight for the youth section, the young adult section of Camp Meeting 2021. Tonight, we have a special guest in Pastor Eddie Hippolyte. We're excited about what he is about to share. Again, we are collaborating and working with This is Marriage UK, with Nita and Curtis will be discussing with Pastor Eddie the challenges and the real realities of life. I'm excited about this one. It's inspired me. It's given me hope. And honestly, Pastor kept it 100 and it did something that I am actually anticipating that many of us are going to be touched by this word. Again, our young people, the youth community choir will be singing for us. But before we begin, let's start with a word of prayer. Lord, we anticipate great things. We anticipate a word from you. We anticipate you to speak to us and to convict us of your power, of your goodness, and your transformative love. As we continue this camp meeting journey, I ask Holy Ghost again that you will do what you do best. Firstly, take away any distraction that's unlike you. And secondly, speak to your people through the channels of YouTube and Facebook. Speak to them through their hearts as you do in a specialist way. Hear my prayer, O Lord. Incline your ears for us and grant us your peace. These things you ask in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Today's question is, what is stopping you right now? And that reminds me of Moses in Exodus chapter 3 verse 11, where God calls him to do something big, something huge. Moses simply says, who am I to do that? Fear is not a bad thing. Fear is there to provide several benefits. When God called Moses to lead his people, he was calling him to do a lot more than just have uncomfortable talks. I have to believe that Moses understood this. And yes, God had a solution for his fear when he says, do not fear, I'm going to be with you. So a strong relationship with God gives us the courage to do what we would never do on our own. So which excuses have you been making to God? Take time to write out what you've been resisting. When you follow God's commands, when you follow God's call, you won't be disappointed.
count us down?
It's too late.
Ah. All right. We are home.
We are in.
And here we are.
This is it.
We there. We there. We there.
Welcome, guys, to the what are you pointing to? Oh no, welcome, guys. Listen, welcome to This Is Marriage UK. You know, this is the channel to help you navigate the journey of life, whether you're single, married, or divorced. We are encouraging people to engage with us so that they can understand the journey of their relationships and be informed about what it's really about. We talk to people who are seasoned and unseasoned, like us,
and have a lived experience
on this journey. We're talking to the title we want to give is not doctor because it's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
Emperor.
That's it. Emperor Eddie. Emperor Hippolyte. And the history books say,
got no sense at all, man.
the history books say that he was a man of
stature,
build,
wisdom from the east of Africa. The region, he was the king of kings in that region.
King of kings.
Stolen from the Congo.
But gracing us with his presence today. So we are totally honored and we are home.
Man.
You get me?
Actually, you are one of our pastors and people should know that you are our pastor and friend.
And brother and uncle and dad and brethren. It just...
It goes on. The list goes on.
goes on.
You know what I mean? You know, the list actually does just go on.
But we want to truly welcome you today, seriously, because there's no better person that we could get such advice from. Do you know what I mean? For a start, you married us, so you're qualified to talk to the people on our behalf. So and counseled us. So we owe you a lot. Do you know what I mean? But we just wanted to know first.
No, man, you go for it.
No, because I'm going for a lot.
Oh, okay, cool. Bro, it's 2021. Before we go into it, it's 2021. What is? You're in. Let's be clear. You live in Australia.
Yeah.
What is COVID life like at the moment?
Well, we're actually getting back to normal.
Wow.
But we're getting back to normal. They have one or two COVID scares, you know, like at the moment in Sydney, one person on the news yesterday, one person contracted coronavirus. You know, like one person will catch it and they realize one person has got it. And, you know, they shut down half the city.
Wow.
Like, I mean, they're dead serious about it, you know. You know, so it ain't a case of anyone here is dying from coronavirus. It's just like, oh, we've seen the virus, you know. And Perth got it. A couple of people got it the other day. They put the whole city into 5-day lockdown.
What?
That's the way to do it.
And that was the first time, though, Perth had been locked down over in Western Australia. That's the first time they had been locked down throughout this whole virus. They've kind of, since last year.
Escaped it.
Huh?
This is their first lockdown ever.
This is their first lockdown ever in Perth.
What are you guys doing different?
Well, number one, you got a government that's got a plan. Number two, you got people who are compliant with the plan. You know what I mean? You got a couple of anti-maskers, you know, and you had that in Melbourne. But Melbourne went through the severest lockdown, actually, of any country, any city in the world. I think they did something like 16 weeks straight lockdown. Yeah, they went hard. So people in the end just they lost it. You know, they started throwing a wobbly, you know, like a serious wobbly, you know. But I think that's what's happening. There's testing sites everywhere. Wow. Track and tracing sites everywhere. People who come into the country, from day one from last year. They locked off the borders. They only allowed 350 to 380 international incoming people to come in a day.
Wow.
Throughout the whole country, well, throughout New South Wales anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they was able to put people into 2 weeks quarantine and just see where everything is. You know, the response of the army, the police, immigration, everybody. They had a plan.
They had it locked.
Yeah, they had a plan and they had it locked. You know, and so it was easy for them to execute that plan. It was easy for them to execute that plan, and so I think that's what we've done here, and that's what we've done right, and that's what's worked, you know.
And it's summer for you now as well, so we're totally jealous. No COVID.
It's summer now. So, yeah, you know, it's summer now. People are more compliant. Funnily enough, I think it's because it's summer, because people are freer. But you know, we was at the outlet mall on Sunday.
Okay, so I ain't gonna lie, it's just bare jealousy going on right now. You know what I mean?
We get everything at Tesco's. Everything at Tesco's.
Tesco's is
a date night.
Tesco's is date night for us. Man.
Yeah.
Hey man, there's a lot of love in Tesco date nights, man. There's a lot of love in, you know.
And it's at 11 o'clock, about 10:30 at night. We're going, and we're like, all right, the kids are at home. Let's go out. Let's go shopping.
Hey, listen, yeah, and listen. When Yvonne and I first used to go to the States, back when we were married, and we used to go visit our friends. You know, we always used to have this thing. We're not in the States until we go to a Walmart, and we always used to go to Walmart like 1 a.m. You know, go 1 a.m. and get the disabled carts and just be driving around Walmart.
Date night.
Hey man, so there's some big date nights to be had. Yeah.
So
big
bro, so the people know who we're talking to. Some of them I'm sure do. We don't know who they are yet. How long have you been married? What's your status? What's your status on Instagram? You know what I'm saying?
My status on Instagram and Facebook is married. We are married in April, 28 years.
Wow.
We were married 25th of April, 1993.
Do you add on more years because of COVID?
No, we just keep the years feel longer. Years feel longer. COVID years are longer. They're like
crash course.
Yeah, man. If anybody if anybody never had an idea of all these dates and whatnot in the Bible, you know, and prophecy years, just think of a COVID year, like, yeah, all right.
Time and a half.
Years are definitely longer, man. They're definitely longer.
The days into the year, right?
A COVID year doesn't last 12 months. A COVID year is definitely a 19-month year. But yeah, I am married 19 years, 28 years.
Come on, bro.
28 years in April.
Lovely.
Soldier.
I know today we call the talk for today, I am married. It's a qualifying statement. It is. I will need you to give me quick one-liners on the following qualifying statements. I am a man.
And I'm continuing to grow.
I am a dad.
I didn't believe it was possible.
I am black.
Unapologetically so.
I am black.
And unapologetically so. You know what I mean?
And I am a believer.
And that's why I am the person I am.
I love that.
Yeah. And that's
right, we'll finish for today, loves. Everybody, thanks for coming.
It's been a pleasure. Peace.
This cough attack keeps taking me.
That's the paper. I sent you a post. As I build these posters, I'm the kind of person I work back to front. So I'll build a poster and then I'll work out the detail later. And there are some guys I can just call on and say, look, I'll see you on Thursday. on a live,
Mm.
and you turn up. You're one of those guys. We don't even have to prepare because you're ready, you're armed. And I just want you guys to know, I sent Eddie a poster saying, I am married. I am married. Because as I was building it, the term came from somewhere. The statement came from somewhere. I am married. And it meant something that I couldn't articulate.
Mm.
So I thought, oh, look, we've got Eddie's picture there. Let me give this to Eddie. What are you going to do with it? But there was something there, but I just couldn't articulate it at the time. And it was like, Eddie, what are we, when someone says, or when Eddie says, I am married, how do you represent that statement from your experience? Where do you start with it?
Oh. I start with the idea that I am my father's contradiction. My dad left when I was 5, left my mum after 10 children and 30-something years of marriage, left her to raise the last 5 of us on her own. He stayed on the periphery of the family. He was always close enough to be seen, but never close enough to be present. You know, it was always a 10 question conversation. You know, how you doing, Dad? How your health? You know, then you get to about question 10 and it's crickets. So when I came to be married 27 years ago, I was convinced that I was going to fail. And simply because I just realized I didn't know what it meant to be married. I didn't know what it meant to be married. I didn't know what it meant to be a father. I didn't know what it meant to be a husband. I didn't know what it meant to work through my inherited Hippolyte tendencies, you know what I mean? And focus on the ones that I was trying to cultivate. I didn't know any of that. And so being married, for me, I realized that I'm a contradiction of him. He loved by being distant. He dealt, you know, he dealt by not dealing. And I've just realized 27 years, you know, after 27 years, you just have to stay. There is no, you know, so for me to be married is to, you know, I'm not trying to be married in order to prove my dad wrong, but I am my dad's contradiction and my mother's answered prayers. For me, that's what it means for me to be married as Eddie Hippolyte. That's what it means for me to be married. I should have brought some tissues because I can actually feel
it's got one of those sessions, you know?
I can feel it bubbling at the bottom.
I can feel it. I'm feeling it already.
In the air tonight.
It's coming, mate.
Oh, Lord. I can feel it.
Yes.
Man.
Did you set out to contradict him?
Nah, I didn't set out with him in mind at all. I set out to prove my father right, you know, because he was the one who said, well, marry the girl and I'll teach you how to do that. You know, I know your biological father ain't around, but marry the girl, I'll teach you how to do that. So I got married to prove him right. I got married because, you know, Yvonne is life. You know what I mean? She is life. She is love. She is, you know, and the unfolding years have proved all the things that I realized early, that they proved them right, you know. And so that's why I got married. I got married for love, you know. I remember at my at the engagement party. And, you know, the advice of my father was, you know, stand your ground and fight your battles like a man. You know, he never said it like that, but that's, you know,
Can you
stand
say
your ground
it?
and fight.
Can you say it as it
Stand your ground and fight your battles like a man. You know, you know, the years hadn't been good to him. The years hadn't been good to him, and so he was a lot more weakened. He wasn't as powerful as his early years. And so I was like, yes, Dad, I will, you know, because obviously my family's there, Yvonne's family's there. It's a big family gathering, you know, for the engagement party. But in my mind, I was like, what you did for me? Chop on you, man. They were listening to you about stand your ground and fight your battles like a man. But 15 years into the wedding, 15 years into the marriage, I realized what he was talking about. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask you what that meant, because in my mind, stand your ground. I didn't know if that was against that saying, well, if she's arguing, don't move from that position, and then fight without considering her feelings like a man.
Well, I did my reflective on it, and I realized what he was saying is that I know you because I know me. And I know that what's in you, there's the potential in you to want to run. There's the potential in you to want to leave. And when you feel that, you need to stand your ground and fight the battles for your family like a man. Fight for your love, fight for your marriage. Be more to yours than I was to you. That's what I've taken it to mean in these later years. Hold on, let me just push up this.
Yeah,
do that, man. Was he correct?
He was correct. So correct. Yeah, 15. We just hit this impasse. You know, there were just so many different things in our marriage and life that were just conspiring against us. And we was heading down the road of indifference. And, you know, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's just indifference. Wow. You know, hate is just a messed up emotion. You know, you hate, that's why you key a car at 2 a.m. You know, you hate, that's why you troll. You know, you hate, that's why you send abusive text messages and you stalk the person because you hate.
Or you bust the windows.
Or you bust the windows or whatever. But when you're indifferent, yeah, if I'm there, I'm there. If it work, it work. If it don't, it don't. Whatever, you know. And that, because love is other-centered, you know what I mean. And indifference is self-centered. It's a preservative. And so we was heading down that road, and that's when I heard it in my head. Boy, you better stand your ground and fight your battles like a man. That's when I heard it come back to me again. And so that I suppose that's when it came what he was trying to say. You know, I talk about it in the book. You know, I realized in that public space what he was privately trying to tell me in that public space. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so yeah, it's I didn't, you know, by the time I had understood it, he had died. He had died by then. So I didn't have a chance to go back to him and say, all right, then I understand what you were saying. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I understand what you were saying.
It was like, it feels like it was a message in a bottle. Do you know what I mean?
Literally. Yeah.
Throw this out there in the ocean.
Yeah. And I'm gonna throw it out there, and I hope that you get it.
I hope that you get it.
I hope that you get it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. You know.
I want to ask you. I feel funny for. I'm not changing the topic actually. Actually, let's ask this in the light of what you're saying on the narrative point of understanding. I guess there's a point where you look back now and you realize he was talking to who I was, even though I didn't know it. And I'm asking you a question, and correct the question if the question is incorrectly voiced. How do you marry Yvonne believing that you lacked the tools to be married?
Good question. My life had gone through such a massive transformation at 25, from who I was to who God told me that I could be, and who he was revealing that I would be if I continued on that journey. And although I didn't have all the tools, my heart had changed. And I knew that my life was eventually going to catch up with my heart.
Oh, man.
You knew that.
Oh yeah. I knew that. I always have that statement. When people write you off, you remind them that God's got a bigger pen. When people write you off, you remind them that God's got a bigger pen. And I just knew, that my life was going to catch up. I knew that in Yvonne, I just had somebody that was going to hold me down and keep me grounded and keep me moving in the direction of my transformation, and support me and keep me moving in the direction of my calling. And so I just knew, like, well, this is just like a no-brainer. Let me jump in. And I just felt like love was enough. Even if you ain't got the tools, sure, love is enough, man. Just go on with it. Just go on with it and make it so. I make it so. So that's why I got married. The story. Once Yvonne and I decided that we wanted to get married, Dad was like, "What?" No. And we was like, "Oh, Dad, you're so funny." And he was like, "No, what? No." Listen, he threw me out the house. The family had a big meeting. Parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, everybody, and they decided, nah, this relationship has to end now. It's gone past serious. Boyfriend and girlfriend is all right, but married, like, no, sir, he don't have nothing he can offer you. And they were telling the truth. I mean, from a material point of view, there was nothing that I had that I could offer. But one thing I did understand, based on what God had done for my life, I'm Eddie Hippolyte.
Yeah.
I was conscious of what God had told me about me. You know what I mean? I was conscious of what God had revealed to me about me. And like I said, so I knew that my life was going to catch up. My life was going to catch up with the transformation that had taken place in my heart. And so, but in the end, they came around. In the end, my father-in-law came around, Pops, he came around, and, I love him. I love him dearly. I love him. I introduce him as my father. I don't introduce him as my father-in-law. Well, you've seen the relationship that I have with my father-in-law. So, it's been that's been the journey. That's been the journey.
I wanted you to open up the statement, love is enough, because I got two girls here and a boy, but the two girls, if they brought a certain man home and said, "Mom, I love him and it's enough," I don't know how I would buy it.
I think you have to get inside the heart of the guy. You have to get inside the head of the guy. You have to get inside the values of the guy. You have to get inside the direction that the boy's life is taking, or the girls, if your boy comes home, "Oh, Mom, I love her. Love is enough." I think those are the things that you need to get inside, being aware that, they need time. Sometimes I go and I buy clothes. Yeah, I know. By the way, I was telling somebody the other day, when Rhea turned 16, I just walked into her school, walked up on the schoolyard, and randomly knocked out about 5 boys. You know what I mean? Just randomly knocked them out. Just looked at everybody else.
Yeah.
Just so they know.
Just so they know.
No, but no, it's You know, sometimes I buy clothes and I buy clothes smaller. I call them aspirational clothes. You know, that's like, you know what? I'm gonna buy it at this size and I'm gonna slim down into them clothes. You know, and it's worked. And sometimes you need to give people time to grow into the aspirations of who they are. If you can see that it's forming in them, you need to give them time to grow into it. You know what I mean? And have a support network around them as they grow into it. And I'm grateful that's what I've had my entire marriage. You know what I mean?
I think we would want that for ourselves. Do you know what I mean? I was listening to something yesterday about Gideon, about the fact that Israel was in starvation. He was starving. He was sneaking in to get food when the angel came to him and said, "Mighty man of God," and he was just like, "Who, me?" And it was like, "No, I know who you are, and you're gonna walk into that." Do you know what I mean? And it's about giving people that grace and space, I suppose, rather than saying, "Come to my house with your plait up heads."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not good enough for my daughter, but giving people that space and grace, and also looking at things like their value system and their direction, which you can't tell from the outside.
When I started talking to Yvonne at 25, I had one CSC academically. That's what I had. A CSC was half a O level.
Yeah.
One CSC grade C in engineering. That's all I had. You know, Yvonne already had a first degree. Yvonne already had a first degree. She was well into her cardiac physiology career. She was on her 5th car and her 4th BMW in 5 cars. You know what I mean? So when Yvonne was talking to me, her family was just like, what? Like, what? You know, but we were clear that we were chosen for each other. We were clear on that in terms of being friends before we started like really fancying each other. We were really, really good friends. We were actually really good friends trying to set each other up with our good friends. You know what I mean? So we just became, you know, that's how we became really, really tight friends. But I wasn't interested in her friend that way, though I loved her as a friend. And my friend wasn't interested in Yvonne that way, although he loved her as a friend. And we all continued to be great friends. We just never introduced that conversation. I never introduced that conversation with her friend, knowing how she felt. And her friend never introduced the conversation with me. There was just a knowing that I do know that she likes me. And her thing was like, you do know that I like you. You know what I mean? But we stayed away from the conversation. We never introduced, you know, because I didn't want to have a conversation with her friend that I knew I wasn't going to carry. I wasn't going to go deeply into. It wasn't going to go anywhere. So let me not have that conversation. But Yvonne and I became, you know, really good friends, and we became best friends. And then from best friends, we just understood, actually, you're the one. You know,
a question on that. I would like you to look at this topic in line with what you're talking about: marriage and potential. The potential partner. If we can go real deep on this, potential partner and the prospect of marriage. I had a conversation with someone today through the channel. We made contact, and the partner she was looking at, it was just, he had a lot of not so attractive points about him in his character. What would your advice be to assessing the character of a man as a potential for marriage?
Well, you know how Yvonne and I feel about you two. You know what I mean? You were Yvonne's boy. You know what I mean? And Monita was my girl. So when you two came together, Yvonne was like viewing Monita like, you know, and I was viewing you like, until we was just like, actually, this works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, hey. You know what I mean? You know, love needs time to grow. Potential needs time to grow. You know, there's a lot of people, I've been seeing it everywhere. Do not marry potential. No, all right, don't marry potential, but at least pursue potential until you understand that this can be married.
Mm.
You know what I mean? At least investigate the potential to see if this can be married, if this can be journeyed with, because no one comes as a finished package. Everyone comes as a packaged, intentional about being the finished package. You know what I mean? And so I think with this, you know, in regards to the person that you're talking about, we don't know people until we have conversations with them. We don't know people until we understand what is the making of them. We don't know people until we understand what it is that actually makes them believe the things that they believe. So at least start with the conversations, and deep conversations. You know what I mean? Deep conversations, spiritual conversations, emotional conversations, social conversations. You know what I mean? Conversations around how you built your idea of love, you know, and what love is. Do you believe love is enough? You know, do you believe, what do you believe love is? Do you believe that love is just hormonal, or do you believe love is a value-based, it's a principle-based value around which you construct your life? You know what I mean? Because love is difficult. You know, it's easy to be selfish and self-seeking, because that's who we are as human beings. Love means we're always coming out of ourselves.
Yeah,
we are always coming out of ourselves. If you look at the description of love within Corinthians, love is patient, love is kind. You know what I mean? Love doesn't seek its own way. Love doesn't keep account. Hey, brother, that's hard work. That's you living at your most deepest self.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's you living at your most deepest self, with inside yourself and outside yourself, especially outside yourself. You know, so have these kind of conversations with this person, and if you see that this person isn't about that, then like, all right, well, move on. Like, no, well, I don't really want to get that deep with it. Well, all right, well, move on, man. Find somebody who wants to be as shallow as you want to be. You know what I mean? Serious. There's enough people in the world. Find somebody who only wants to go as shallow as you want to go.
Yeah.
You know. But if you find somebody who just realizes, man, I didn't realize that's how deep it got, but I'd really like to find out how deep it gets. I'd really like to find out how deep this thing really gets, and I feel like I can do that with you. My heart is safe with you. You know, because I think one of the things that we really fear is going that deep with somebody that we don't feel our heart is safe with, or what we have, not so much that we don't feel that our heart is safe with. We worry, will our heart be safe in their hands? Will my love be safe in their heart? Well, who I am and the aspirations I have, will it be safe with them? You know, and but if you realize that it can be, and that person is willing to grow into that, then go on with it. Yeah, go on with it. You know,
Question.
because it's always going to take time. It's always going to take years. It's always going to take disappointment. It's always going to take growth. It's always going to take argument. You know what I mean? It's always going to be sleeping in a bed after you argue, and the bed is as big as a football pitch. You know what I mean? You know, even though it's like one single bed that the two of you sleeping in, but you know, when you get into the argument, somehow that bed get big. You know, that bed get big, and then you roll over in the morning, and you're like, hey, and then you realize that you're vexed.
Yeah, you have to remember.
Yeah.
And why you got back it? Because you was like this all night.
You know what I mean? Morning, babe. You know what I mean? No, give me beauty.
Oh yeah, I'm upset with you, and I forgot.
You wake up remembering your vex. You know, but all of that is just a part of just growing your love. Seriously, all of it, you know, until you realize, hold on, what we vex for? You know, I remember early in our marriage, Yvonne and I would be driving, and I'd be like, "What's the time, babe?" "Oh, it's 1 o'clock." "Well, why do you want to say it like that for?" And then we just bust into an argument over nothing.
Yeah.
And then I'd say, "You hungry, babe?" She said, "I'm starving." And we would crack up because we just realized we weren't mad with each other. It was the hunger. You know?
Wow. Wow.
We'd literally crack up in the car like, Lord have mercy, we dangerous when we hungry, man. You know what I mean? Deep. It's so deep. You know what I mean? Sometimes you'll see reactions. And then we just realized, oh, she's hungry, man. Like, let's go get something to eat.
Yeah.
Bright and dry. It's like you literally see the sun come over the horizon. You know what I mean? So you just realize, all right then. I mean, it takes time to know that.
Yeah.
It takes time to know that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Question.
What does marriage mean? Marriage is the joining of two lives in one space and one direction. For me, that's what it is.
I was saying, let's take a minute. Say it again.
Marriage is the joining of two lives in one space with one direction. Now, those two lives are individual lives and independent lives, but they're seeking consistently in this one direction to live interdependently. You know what I mean? And for me, that's what marriage is. And it's understanding how you grow. It's understanding how you grow the strength of that direction, how you grow the strength of that one life. You know what I mean? It's two lives, but it's one life. You know what I mean? It is about understanding how we become one in this one direction. It's about understanding how we love outside of ourselves in this one direction. It's about understanding how we find greater depths to be more understanding, more patient, more forgiving. You know, Ivana's loved me way past my love by date. Way past my love by date. You know what I mean? Take me down from the shelf, like, all right, come on, I'll continue. I'll keep loving you. You know what I mean? You know. And so it's and I feel that's what it is. Two lives joined in one space, moving in one direction, you know, and creating a community within your family that loves deeply, that loves understandably, that creates that space where within that family setting, mistakes can be made and mistakes are welcomed, because sometimes you only learn by mistakes, you know what I mean? That you can build again, you know, that failure isn't the inability to succeed. Failure is understanding why you didn't succeed and not trying again. That's what failure is. But failure isn't that you didn't succeed. You know what I mean? Failure is understanding why you didn't achieve that, but never trying again. Oh, well, yeah, all right, I understand why I didn't do that. All right, go try again. No, I don't need to. Well, then that is failure. You know? And so, yeah, I believe that's what marriage means. You know, marriage means hard work. You know, marriage means focus, commitment. Marriage means not having all the answers.
What does that mean?
Well, I don't think you're going to have all the answers to every problem that you go through. I think sometimes you know, and I don't mean like massive problems, you know. I just don't, you know, sometimes there ain't no answer to this. Just let it be and just keep on moving. It's not detrimental to anything. You know, it may be a little idiosyncrasy that somebody has, something that someone does, you know, and it's not detrimental to anything, you know. But why do you always do that? Why are you always that way? You know, is it destroying your relationship? No. You know, is it taking anything? Do you feel less because they do that? No. Well, that's just them. You know, like somebody has a mole on their head and there ain't nothing you can do with it. You get the mole surgically removed and then like 3 months later, the mole grow back. and you just spend $6 grand on nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
Leave it alone.
yeah, that little idiosyncrasy they have. That's just them. Just like there ain't no answer to that. Just let it be. You know what I mean? Just let it be.
Just let me be there.
You have to deal with the boldness.
God is still working on
The
mine,
Empress said it. You have to deal with the
Cool.
bowl.
It's working. It's gonna happen. Next
Oh
question.
Lord. Oh,
Yeah,
question.
It's a question, bro.
oh, what has being married done for you? Oh Lord.
As you're thinking about that, guys, you can still ask your questions as well, and we will put them up to Eddie. This is the time to ask the Emperor a question while he's with us, so feel
Stop.
free to do that.
What has being married done for me? It's allowed me to operate at my best, and it's allowed me to be vulnerably safe at my worst.
You got some things that we need to sit with for a minute.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to do that again.
It's allowed me to operate at my best, in terms of my gifts and my skills. You know, its impact on the world, its impact on the environment that I've had. You know, it's allowed me to see myself in really, really like, wow, I didn't see this for myself. And then it's allowed me to be safe at my vulnerably worst. I think the last 3 years have been difficult years for me. With my change of career and have to be diplomatic with this. Why it happened, and then how it's made me feel, and how it continues to make me feel. And so it's been a big stripping away of a lot of the things that I thought were sure, and stripping away of a lot of the things that I believed about the organization of the church, the heart of the church. It affirmed a lot of things that I tried to kind of ignore. And my marriage has allowed me to be able to sit in that space, away from public gaze. It's allowed me to sit in my space of loss, my space of depression, my space of unsurety about myself. It's just lots of things. And it's allowed me to sit in that space and have it's allowed me to sit in that space and be real, allowed me to sit in that space and be true. And then when I go back into the public space, to be as though nothing has happened. Marriage has allowed me to do that. You know what I mean? Marriage,
It's been a safe space then.
yeah. Oh my gosh. You know, it's allowed me to understand the beauty of being a father. It's allowed me to understand the beauty of being a husband. It's allowed me to be loved beyond myself, and to love beyond myself. It has forced me to be less selfish and less afraid. Yeah, so that's what it's done for me, from that perspective of journey and who I am. That's what it's done for me. So,
were they your expectations, or has marriage exceeded your expectations?
marriages affirm that you need to have expectations going in. You know, I had expectations that we were going to be happy. I had expectations that we were going to grow. I had expectations that we was going to raise a family. I had expectations that together as a couple, we would be successful. I did have those expectations because I understood Yvonne, you know what I mean? What I didn't have expectations of was the journey that it was going to take to get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
It's the way
yeah,
God.
you're just like, no, you know, we are together and the Lord is with us. Straight journey. Like, God is like,
No, we got all towers.
God is like, yeah, not for you.
Real.
Like, yeah, according to my book, no, not for you. Yeah. And so, you know, and I think, you know, so much of the idea of the grace of God within marriage is God managing us. Like literally God managing us, you know. And when we do what we do in the way that we do it, God having to, you know, the relevance of God in your marriage. Well, God is the one who as humans, we ain't all that, and we ain't all it. As humans, we ain't all that, and we ain't all it. Yeah, don't fool yourself. We are not the center of any universe. We are participants in the universe. We are participants in the flow of life. We are not life. And I feel like the sooner we come to grips with that, the quicker we'll be able to humble ourselves and realize that we need help outside of ourselves. You know, people always talk about, people use religion as a crutch. As human beings, we use everything as a crutch because we know that we're limited. You know, we use everything as a crutch. You may say Christians use Christianity as a crutch. Well, atheists use atheism as a crutch. That's your belief system to get yourself through life. We use money as a crutch. We use drugs as a crutch. We use likes on IG all of us. Why? Because we realize that we are limited. We realize that we are limited, that all the answers do not lie with us. Yeah, we are not the center of the universe. We are willing and involuntary participants in the life of the universe, in the life of the world. So therefore, we understand that we need help outside of ourselves. The biblical God presents himself as saying, yeah, I hear you. And so I'm here. Yeah, God isn't a crutch that I use to get through life. God is a co-partner and a co-pilot in the direction of my life.
So how does that look in real terms? How, if I said to a friend or even maybe an unbeliever who was maybe on the cusp of believing that God plays a significant role and relevance in my marriage, and they say how?
Yeah.
Give me a demonstration or an example of how he does that.
God plays the relevance within our space. I'll just take my space. God plays and has played the relevance within our space. Number one, by just affirming to me in the first place. I went through this season of panic, like I said, before I got married. And it was God who said to me at the beginning, before I got married, because I was convinced I was going to fail. I was convinced I was going to fail. Because like I said at the beginning, I'd never seen, what does it mean to be a father? What does it mean to be, I'd never seen him. My dad left when I was 5, and mommy never brought another man back into the house again. So I had never seen my mom with another man. You know what I mean? Time when we was younger and she was, we was just playing the fool, and she said, I'm going out and I'm finding a hard-working Irishman and bring him in the house. I was like, no, not the hard-working Irishman.
No. I'll behave.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, not the hardworking Irishman. You know what I mean? I'm going on finding a hardworking Irishman and bringing him in the house. You know, but and it was God who spoke into my. I literally heard God ask me, Eddie, what did you deserve to see? I know you didn't see it, but what did you deserve to see? And I told him the things that I felt that I deserved to see. And he said, well, go on and marry the girl. And I will send people around you that will model that for you. I will even send dysfunctional people around you that will model what not to be. But you need to step in. You need to step in and trust that in your life and in Yvonne's life and in the marriage and the life you're trying to make together, that I've got a plan for you. You know what I mean? That I'm going to work it out for you. And so the relevance of that, you know, in marriage, in order for marriage to work, you always have to be surrendered. And surrendered means with each other, you stop fighting each other in the places where where your love is trying to grow you into that person's heart and grow you into that person's life. And I think with God, the relevance of God in marriage is that marriage will never work unless God never works in your life unless you're willing to be surrendered. And surrendered simply means you stop fighting God where he's trying to grow you. So if you've been carrying this level of anxiety and God is showing you ways in which you can deal with that, surrender means stop fighting him where he's trying to grow you. If you have to be more patient and God is bringing the people around you that rub you up the wrong way, but you can see the ways in which you shouldn't be allowing this to actually affect you. That is God saying, be in that space. I will show you how to be more patient. You know what I mean? If God is saying you need to, you know, the amount of times that God has said to me that I need to go and apologize, and I know it weren't my fault.
You know that one, isn't it?
That
You know,
sounds
that's
like
me
I
and
hear
do
that
as well.
same voice.
Yeah. Unbeknownst to myself, that my apology is going to be Yvonne's bridge to come back, for her to walk across to a sense of herself. And she's like, baby, come on now. You know, it wasn't you. It was me. You know what I mean? But my apology was the bridge that she could work across. You know what I mean? And so that's what I mean when I say surrendered, where you just stop fighting God in the space, because God is actively involved in the life of us as human beings. He's actively involved. God isn't an idea way up in the, you know, God isn't, you know, a guru up in the mountains. God is down here in the dusty streets. God is down here in the muck and the mire. And God is teaching us how to be, you know what I mean? God is teaching us how to be greater versions of ourselves. He's teaching us how to be humbled versions of ourselves. He's teaching us how to be braver versions of ourselves. You know, what self-work is needed in marriage.
I mean, you're touching it, you're going into it already. So I kind of just put it up to say,
yeah,
naturally flowing into that.
Well, the self-work that is needed in marriage, yeah, is the working on yourself that's working against your marriage. Yeah. Yeah. So if I'm impatient, well, that's the self-work that's needed. What's working against your marriage? You know what I mean? If I'm bad with numbers and I'm bad with money, well, go do an evening course, go do an online course on money management and learn how to manage it. You know what I mean? You know, if I'm not spiritual enough within my marriage. And when I say spiritual enough, I mean, just like, you know, we pray before we have sex. Like, no, not that. You know what I mean? But if for what we are about to receive, may the Lord
make us truly grateful.
That'll pull me off.
No.
You know what I mean?
After we have received.
You know, I think the self-work that is needed in marriage is the work on yourself that works against your marriage, and the work on yourself that stops you from being the best person, not just in your marriage, but the best person within life itself. And that's always going to be the self-work that is needed in marriage. You know, that's going to be the self-work that is needed specifically within marriage.
That's a lot. Sorry, we're not usually quiet, as you guys know, but when the emperor comes on, we have to just humble ourselves, and we just glean, we learn. We've been learning already for the past 21, 22 years,
Yeah.
and outside of that, but as a couple for the past 22 years. So this is much of a refresher course for us as it is for you guys learning. So if you see us not saying much, it's because we're taking it in and we're about to live it.
Yeah.
We are landing the plane, and we're definitely, you're part of our lives and part of this network. So we're gonna have you back again. But this was so rich, but we wanted to end with the beginning of a few statements and for you to finish it off. And the first is, I want.
I want to be a better man. I want to continue to love without fear. I want to exceed my father's expectations. Yeah. My father. I'm not sure what expectations my biological father had of me, but I do know what expectations, I am. I am grateful. I am still in progress. I am still in progress. I am not afraid. I am not afraid. Oh. I need prayer, but I do. I need to remind myself that I've figured out how to do this. I need, and it's going to sound corny, spiritually corny, but I need a closer walk with Jesus. Yeah.
You're going to kill me. I'm going to get tissue.
Yeah. Oh, you don't know. I'm holding it.
I got to get tissue for me, bro.
Yeah. I hope I hope that I don't disappoint my mom. I hope that I don't disappoint my father. I hope that I continue to be the father that my daughter needs and the husband that my wife deserves. I hope. I will be the husband that my wife deserves, and I will be the father that my daughter needs. I will make it to the morning and see my mom again. I will. I will. I expect I'm never coming on with you two again. I
We keep doing this, man. Have to grab this dirty piece of tissue right here, man.
I expect
Mercy.
I expect God to continue to be gracious to me. I expect God to continue to keep the promises that he made to Mum concerning us, her and us. I expect my marriage to continue to grow. I expect my daughter to exceed all my expectations, because she does already, and she will continue to. I believe you're killing me.
It's when I've got no control. I've got no control.
I believe that I am God's child. I believe that I am known. I believe that I am seen. I believe that I am loved. I believe that everything God chooses for me is good. Is good. Is there another one?
Should we stop there?
I won't kill you with it.
I'm dead already.
I didn't mean it. I held it back this time. Can you just put up the two comments what you just had before? That was Jess and Ambrose as well. Jess says, Jess, tell the truth. Thank you for joining us, Jess. We really appreciate your support. Says this is so beautiful, seeing real men being vulnerable. And I always say that strength and vulnerability coexisting is so necessary. And it just epitomizes strength for me, full strength. So what you're seeing here is real men. So thank you, Jess. And then this one here for me. Ambrose says, total appreciation for the complete transparency as we strive to become whole. And so even in the beginning, Salone was saying, this is very, I know she was saying, this is reminiscent to our own reflections. I am my father's contradiction. She's reflecting on this, and so am I. It's something that I will take with me, having a very similar story, that I am his contradiction. And that this is possible. This is still possible. Yeah. And we still grow, and we have to give each other space to grow, space to learn. Don't sweat the small things. Everybody has potential. That's the things that I've picked up in this talk. And as I said, guys, you know, we usually can chat for Britain, but in this space, we sit down and we stop frapping around, cleaning the house like Martha, and we sit like Mary and learn. And we learn, and it goes straight to our heart, because the teacher speaks from his heart. And so we appreciate your time and space. Eddie, I don't know if you want to surmise that. Say what you picked up.
Yeah. Look, you know what? I don't know if it's an age thing. It must be an age thing where we become so much more reflective. And you look back at the nonsense that we were about. The time wasted on pride and fire. And I tell you the truth, I mean, I'm a man. I mean, I've had a reasonably good dad with a bucket load of flaws. He's always been there, and he's tried in his own deficient way to be the man. And I listen to him talk, and I'm like, he's a completely different guy. He's passed on in terms of life skills beyond the practical things like cleaning and cooking and stuff like that. He hasn't passed on much more. And so being me being very self-protective, I refuse to look up to any man. And you are one of the only guys I look up to.
Oh.
I'll tell you why. I didn't want to say it from a long time now, Eddie. I'll tell you why. I guess when you watch people change, I've watched my dad change. He was a hothead, distant man who loved us. And then he just became this puppy, this vulnerable man. And with you, how I saw you when I've known you since I was like an early teen, maybe 12 years old, if not younger. And you're a completely different guy. Same person, but a different guy. And what you have become, especially the way that you say things that I think I cannot say what you say. I have to put you on a live show, Eddie, for me to get my thoughts out through your mouth, right? And the vulnerable, you know what it is the vulnerability, the amount of strength I see in your vulnerability. I see your vulnerability as the only way. No, Eddie, your vulnerability. Yes, I have friends too, but I'm talking to you today to say your level of vulnerability with your backstory is the only way to freedom. It's the only way to life. It is a form of salvation for me, I swear, if you know what I mean. And I just want to say I appreciate you for that. People, Eddie, you have a book or something that people can be grabbing hold of. You know, you have to read, people.
I put a lot of it in here. It's called Living From Here.
Bring it closer.
About resilience and story. It's a book about resilience and story and journey. You can go to my IG Live and you can find it in the bio. Go to my IG Live in the bio. You'll find it in the bio. For those of you who don't have IG, if you go to EYRLTD.com, just go to EYRLTD.com and
we're going to ask you that again. Say that again so you can write
EYR.
Sorry, let me put it to Juanita now. She'll do it. Sorry.
EYRLTD.com, and you'll find it in my resources page. I didn't put it on. I didn't put the physical book on Amazon. Bezos was rich enough. Yeah, go to EYRLTD.com and just go to my resources page, and you'll find it there. You can get a hard copy or you can get an electronic copy.
Yeah.
I always feel like I've been in a beautiful therapy session when I sit with you two. You know what I mean? Our conversations are always like this anyway. You know, online or offline. Yeah.
Same.
Online or offline.
Same.
It's the same conversation. I thought I'd just add it in there while you got it on the screen.
It's rich.
Yeah, it's the same conversation. Yeah.
That's all right.
If anyone's looking, this isn't made up. You know, that's why I said at the beginning, all right, these, you know, it's funny enough. Yeah, it's funny. You know, I always go there with when it's just me and Curtis, we do our IG lives together. Yeah. But when Anita sits down, I'm like, oh, gosh.
Oh, no.
And just know
Ed, I held it back. I held it down. I didn't even go in.
Do you know what we need to do? It would be, you know what would be good? I'm going to put it out there. So therefore, it has to be done. I'm going to put it out into the universe, whatever that means.
Well, that don't mean nothing. Take that back.
I'm joking. Take that wrong. I'm going to put it out there, right? That you two should do a moving on series. Oh my gosh, I can feel it. It's done.
He's talked about it in the universe of YouTube. Anyway, we're going to wrap up now.
That's going to happen. That's going to happen.
We want to thank you guys seriously for staying with us for the last hour and 10 minutes. And I know it was worth more than gold. And so because it was worth so much to you, you can access our Patreon page at This Is Marriage UK for more rich content. And content that will help support you in your personal development and enhance the way that you do relationships. And we all do relationships, whether that is a intimate relationship with your children, relationship with your work colleagues, even when you get on the bus, you're in relationship. And it's just letting you do the self-work, look deep within, cut up, clean out, patch up, and go on your way. And that's what we hope to do. But we do need your support. We do need you to put in so we can put out.
That's right.
So visit our Patreon and support us. And support us so we can have more people like Eddie. We can have Ed on again because we really couldn't afford Ed. Do you know what I mean? So please support the cause and share, share, subscribe, thumbs up.
You will help the channel. You will help the channel. Just click on those buttons, click on the bell to let you know when we're live again. Subscribe, share. We need that. That's just the way social media works. We appreciate it too. Let other people know what time it is and what we're doing. And visit our Instagram for... Here we go. Visit our Insta page so that you know when the posters are up. We'll put the post on YouTube as well soon. Thank you all.
Thank you. Ed, you got any last closing words?
I want to say thank you to you two. Thank you for how you've been doing this consistently for the past few years now. Thank you for saving so many marriages last year.
Wow.
When COVID hit.
Wow.
And people had to actually sit in the reality of where they found themselves in their relationships, in their marriage, because they couldn't come out of the house. You know, they couldn't run to work and all the other places that they run to hide. They had to actually sit there. And I know that you two actually saved so many people last week. So thank you. Thank you for what you do and what you continue to do. I know that this will continue to just blossom. I know that this will continue to do great things in the culture. And I am and I'm confident. I'm confident that people will look back and know that This Is Marriage UK was what made it happen. Wow. I want to read a blessing for everybody, for you two, and for everybody who's listening. It's called it's the Psalm of Victory, the prayer of victory. In Psalms 20, the Lord answer you in the day of trouble. The name of the God of Jacob protect you. May he send you help from the sanctuary and give you support from Zion. May he remember all your offerings and regard with favor your sacrifices. May he grant your heart's desires and fulfill all your plans. And may we shout for joy over your victory. And in the name of our God, set up our banners. May the Lord fulfill all your petitions. So that's my prayer for you. And my blessing over you.
We'll take that.
Thanks again, guys.
Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow
we have Michael Ajay.
Yes.
Like no one miss.
Ed,
tell them why they want to miss Michael Ajay, please.
He that cometh after me. You know what I mean? His Nikes. I am not. I am not worthy to tie. You know what I mean? I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness. Prepare you the way of the Ajay.
We've got the Ajay on tomorrow.
Prepare you the way of the Ajay.
Hey,
You better know it.
Jay's on Michael Jay's on tomorrow. God sent a curveball. Now, this one, you need to get your tissues, you need to get your water, you need to get your anointing oil, the whole shebang. So Michael will be with us tomorrow. And so that's something that you need to join us for. 7:30 again, but keep your eye closely on IG, because sometimes 7:30 moves to 8. Because 7:30 is usually when people kind of do the cutoff for the kids going to bed, and that can get extended when the kid don't want to go to bed. You get me? So sometimes it goes to 8. So just look for the updates and the reviews. But we're definitely on with Michael Ajayi tomorrow in the same space, and share that on Instagram wherever you see the post. So just do us a favor and put in your stories. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today.
God bless people. Take care. Tomorrow night.
Bye.